Hello and welcome back. This is Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana, and this is Marksman TV. Today we have another comparison video for you. We will be taking a look at the Remington 700 ADL, the Ruger American, and the Savage Axis. We will be starting with an unboxing, and then we will do a detailed side-by-side comparison starting at the muzzle end and ending all the way at the butt end. We'll go ahead and waste no time and jump into that now. Alright, to start with an unboxing, we'll go ahead and start here with the Ruger American, and we'll move through this pretty quickly. Got a standard white cardboard box we'll go ahead and open. Go ahead and grab our rifle. Has a plastic sleeve over it, I'll go ahead and remove. Go ahead and set that there. And if I dig in here further, I will find all of my warranty information and instruction manuals. Right here in this brown cardboard box, I can open that up and find my bolt. To install, I would just go ahead and push that in through the rear and then lock it down and we're good to go. Moving on to the Savage Axis, again we have a standard cardboard box, so go ahead and open up. Inside we will find our rifle. Go ahead and pull that out. Pull it out of its plastic sleeve. We'll find a clear chamber flag here. Go ahead and pull that out. Then we will find our instruction manuals and gun safety lock. Then find our bolt here. Go ahead and take that out. To install, go ahead and pull the trigger and then push down on the bolt stop lever. Go ahead and put my bolt in from the rear. Release that bolt stop lever and then push down to lock. And then we will also find our magazine. I'll go ahead and take that out and install it here on the bottom. So it locks and we're good to go. And finally we have our Remington 700 ADL, and basically all the Remington rifles come in very standard similar form. We'll go ahead and pull that open. Easiest to probably put together, we have the rifle sitting right in here. I'll go ahead, lift that out from the rear and take this foam padding off the rear. Take the barrel off the front. The bolt is already installed. And of course this particular one comes with a scope on it, which we'll get into a little bit later. We also find our gun safety lock here, a little lens cloth and a scope tool, Allen wrench. This particular one is the compact or youth model, so it does have adjustment pads as you want to extend your length of bolt. And we will find our Remington instruction documentation. So here we have them out of the box. Up at the top is our Remington 700 ADL. Here in the middle is our Ruger American, and right down at the bottom is the Savage Axis. Now these are the entry-level variants in each one of their respective lines by Remington, Ruger, and Savage. I'm going to quickly do a quick evaluation and show you basically the lineup of where these things can go as you want to put more money into them and upgrade to different models. As we go through the review and talk about each thing, or each aspect of these rifles, I will also briefly mention on the upgrades that can be made as you go into other models within the same product line. That might be a little bit confusing now, but I'll go ahead and get into that so it makes a little bit more sense later. So here we have the Remington 700 ADL, and down here I have the SPS Tactical. This is in 243, this is in 308. The SPS Tactical has a heavy barrel. This is 20 inches. Also utilizes the Hogue overmolded stock, and it is free-floated. Also has their adjustable trigger, whereas you don't see the adjustable trigger here in the ADL, kind of their standard model. Basically, the ADL used to be considered their entry-level model. Now Remington is considering the SPS, which is synthetic sporting stock or synthetic sporter stock, as their entry-level model. If you get into the SPS Tactical, you're kind of going one step above the standard SPS. Like I mentioned, you do get the heavy barrel, the free-floated barrel, the Hogue overmolded stock, those sorts of things. Keep in mind you can go beyond that to other models. They have the Remington 700s and really high-end, nice precision chassis systems and those sorts of things. So really the sky's the limit in terms of how much money you can spend on a Remington 700 platform. Of course, Remington also has the M24, which is the rebarreled and kind of remanufactured M24 weapon system that the military had used. Those are going to be about, I guess, in the $2,400 range. But again, we're just starting here so you get a basic fundamental idea of where the Remington 700 starts. So getting into the Ruger American family, we of course are going to start with the base model, which is the Ruger American. Then you can go from there into the Predator series, which has things like a heavier contour barrel, a threaded muzzle with a threaded muzzle protector, 5/8 by 24 thread pitch, a nice full-length scope mount up here, which is on the standard one. Again, we'll get into is a two-piece mount. And then you get down in here into the ultimate of the line, which is the Ruger Precision. Now, we did just do a review on the Ruger Precision compared to the Savage Stealth, which I will put a link to right here somewhere on the screen, so you can go check that out if you want to. Now here we have the Savage Axis, again, kind of their base entry-level line. I don't have anything between, but you go all the way up to the far end and you have the Savage Stealth. Again, this is the one that I compared with the Ruger Precision. Now this is based more on the Savage Model 10 action than it is the Savage Axis, but at least you get the idea. Again, this is just to hone in on the point that these are entry-level rifles that we're comparing, but they don't really stop here. The sky is really the limit, whether in the Savage line you want to end up in the Stealth, or in the Ruger line you want to end up in the American, or in the Remington 700 line you want to end up in the 700P or the M24. So anyway, keep that in mind as we go through these. Now we're back with these three again. Real fast, we're going to go over the weight and length dimensions, starting up here with the Remington 700. The Remington 700 weighs in at 7 pounds, and it is 40.5 inches in length. Now this is the compact model, and that measurement was taken with the extension plates added to the rifle, so the full length. The American weighs in at 6.1 pounds and is 42 inches in overall length. And the Savage Axis weighs in at 6.5 pounds and is 42 3/4 inches in overall length. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the barrels. I do have the Remington 700 up here on the top, and I'll start there. So the Remington 700, this is a 20-inch barrel, and of course this is chambered in 243 and does have a 1 in 9 twist. If this were a 308, it would have a 1 in 10 twist. Remington does offer these in 223, 243, 270, 7mm 08, 7mm Remington Magnum, 30-06, 308, and 300 Win Mag. They also offer this in a few other various kind of lesser common calibers. If you're interested in those, go visit Remington's website. Moving down to the Ruger American, again, we do have a cold hammer forged barrel. Ruger does offer this rifle in 30-06, 308, 223, 243, 270, 22-250, and 7mm 08. This is a 308, and it does have a 1 in 10 twist. If we were looking at the 6.5 Creedmoor, it would have a 1 in 8. The 243 would have a 1 in 9, and the 223 would have a 1 in 8. The length of this barrel is 22 inches, but they also offer it in 18 inches as well. Remember, if you wanted that threaded barrel, you can look at the Ruger American Predator, which does have a 5/8 by 24 thread pitch on it with a nice thread protector. Moving on down here to the Savage Axis, this is also a 308 and does have a 1 in 10 twist. Caliber offerings are similar to the other two, so I won't rattle those off again. It is a carbon steel barrel, and it is button pressed, which means the rifles are pressed into the metal as opposed to cut, which is really a cost-saving measure, and some people argue does enhance accuracy. This is a 22-inch barrel as well. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about the stocks. These are all three use a polymer or plastic type stock, which is all one piece, the stock system all the way through to the butt end. So taking a look at the Savage Axis down here, it does utilize 2 action screws, which does lock the receiver into the recoil lug inside, which is actually inside the stock and not part of the receiver itself. That's how it basically maintains a nice free-floated and solid cohesion with the stock. So the Ruger American is also free-floated, and it does use Ruger's patent-pending power bedding system, which is an integral bedding and block system. It's like 2 grooves that you'll see within the channel of the stock itself, where the receiver rests and locks in, which does maintain a really strong cohesion with the stock and also free floats the barrel. So the Remington 700 is actually not free floated, and there are a few contact points right up here. And I'll roll in an image of that stock as well, so you can see that from the inside view. As opposed to the Savage Axis, the recoil lug is actually machined as one part into the receiver itself and is not embedded within the stock. So let's go ahead and talk about the receivers, starting up here with the Remington 700. This does utilize a receiver machined from bar stock, and it's formed from round cross-section steel. And it does utilize the 3-ring receiver, which is actually very durable and well regarded. It is the exact same action used on the M24, which has been used by the military for quite some time for its ruggedness and durability. So really a good legacy, which speaks a lot about the durability and reliability and rigidity of this action. The finish is a matte blue finish, and I've experienced this myself, and I know others have too, that the finish does not hold up too well to corrosion, especially if left to the elements. If you took this out on a hunting trip or something, it's very common that you will find surface rust accumulating. Remington really could have done better with the finishing process on this. So on many of the Remington 700 variants, you will find that they do not come with a scope or scope base. This scope happens to be a 3 to 9 by 40, kind of a Walmart quality scope. I guess it would work okay, but I would definitely recommend getting into something else further on down the line unless you were on a budget. These scope mounts themselves are very affordable, and you can usually find them. I know Leopold or Weaver make them. You can usually find them on Amazon for pretty cheap, and you can get a 2-piece set or a 1-piece rail mount, 20 MOA or not 20 MOA. It's really up to you. So you do have a lot of ability there to kind of mix and match or figure out what works best for you and what practical use you're looking to achieve in the rifle. The Ruger American is machined from a 4140 chrome moly bar stock, and it is a black matte oxide finish, which I understand is actually very, very good and durable finish that Ruger uses on many of their products. This one does come standard with a 2-piece scope mount system, and you will find that on all of the Ruger Americans. If you're looking for that 1-piece setup, you might again be interested in looking at the Ruger American Predator. The Savage Axis has a receiver machined out of bar stock again. There are no scope bases, but it is machined and cut out these little recesses, so you can mount any type of scope mount that you want to. The good thing about this is a lot of rifles will use proprietary scope mounts. Because this is a rounded receiver, any standard rounded style scope mount will fit, which are usually easy to find and very affordable in both 2-piece and 1-piece setups. Moving into the loading features, the Remington 700, specifically the ADL, does have a flat bottom, so you cannot open up a magazine floor plate. All rounds will have to be loaded through the top. The larger calibers are usually just going to have a 4-round capacity, such as the 308 or the 243. If you get into a 223, smaller calibers, you can get usually a 5-round capacity. Moving up into other models like the SPS, usually you will find things like a floor plate that can open up, so you can dump your rounds out the bottom in case they were to jam or something on you. Again, that's an upgrade if you're looking to get into an SPS or an SPS Tactical. The Ruger American does utilize a detachable box magazine. Again, in the larger calibers like 308 or 6.5 or 243, you are only going to have a 4-round capacity. Smaller calibers like the 223, you will have a 5-round capacity. These rotary magazines, I've heard good and bad things about. I know when they first released, they did have a lot of trouble with them. It seems now that people are reporting that a lot of those issues have been solved, and these are actually a good removable box magazine you can purchase many of, and they're pretty small. Keep them in your pocket for quick reloads, or if you just want this one for the range, I guess that would work for you as well. Just like the Ruger American, the Savage Axis does utilize a removable box magazine, which you can actuate here. It actually feels a lot more durable. I know that these get a lot better reviews than the Ruger rotary magazine, which is mostly polymer. Nice steel construction with a polymer floor plate. Really sturdy. I like this. A little bit bigger and a little bit edgier and pointier than the Ruger American. Probably not as comfortable to stick these in a pocket, but I would prefer durability anyway. Again, capacity is going to be 4 rounds for your larger calibers, 5 rounds for your smaller calibers. Moving into triggers, here I have the Savage Axis, and this is a non-adjustable 5-pound trigger. Again, on the base model like an Axis, you're going to find a trigger like this. But if we do move up in quality to say like the Savage Axis 2 or the Savage Stealth like we have here, you will find that they will start using the Accu trigger, which actually is adjustable from about 1.5 to 6 pounds. Here we have the Ruger American, which does utilize the Ruger Marksman adjustable trigger. It is fully adjustable at between about 3 to 5 pounds. Out of the box, I think they're at about 3.5 pounds. This is the same trigger you are going to find on the American Predator as well as the Precision. So this is the Remington 700, and it does utilize the X Mark Pro trigger. It does weigh in normally at about 5 pounds out of the box. Now it is nickel plated and all the contact surfaces are polished, so that does lend itself to a very nice, smooth and crisp break. Actually a really nice out of the box trigger, especially for one that's not adjustable. Now in other models of the Remington 700, like I have the SPS Tactical back out, this is the same trigger, the X Mark Pro trigger. This one is their adjustable, so you do see a little screw head in there, and comes with a tool that you can use to adjust the trigger pull weight, which is anywhere between 3.5 and 6 pounds. Getting into safeties, the Savage Axis does use a Ting style flip safety. See that red, it means dead, so if the red is showing, it's ready to fire. You cover up that red, it's on safe. The Ruger American uses the exact same style Ting safety. This is a little bit more texturing to it, a little like a latch style button. Anyway, if you see that F, it means you're on fire. If you cover that up, you're on safe. And the Remington 700 does use a flip style safety. Up at the top you see F for fire, and at the bottom you see S for safe. You can go ahead and if you need to flip that to safe, just flip that down, flip to fire, flip it back up. If we get here into the back, we do see that all three have a very nice rubberized butt plate or butt pad. Very, very nice, very forgiving, pushing type texture on here. All three are great options. The Remington's probably the stiffest. Actually, I take that back. The Ruger's probably the stiffest, followed by the Remington, and of course, I would say the Savage has the most play and give. So now we'll go ahead and finish up with the bolts. Down here at the bottom, I do have the Savage Axis. The Savage is a Polish bolt body, and it does have dual locking lugs. The interesting thing about these is it does have a free rotating head. That allows the head to turn and cam freely behind the casing as it goes into battery, and then interface and lock up with precisely with the chamber. Also, during firing, you are going to get little variances in fluxing within the chamber, within the receiver, through recoil and through the action of firing the rifle. The free-floating head will allow the contours of the bolt head to move and flex with the rifle to maintain that strong lockup through firing. So the Ruger American bolt does have a one-piece 3-lug bolt head. The overall bolt throw is 70 degrees, which is optimal for clearing your optic. And it also does have a full diameter bolt body with dual locking cams. The bolt for the Remington 700 does utilize 2 forward locking lugs, and it does have a recessed bolt face, which gives a full all-around diameter around the casing after it's seated into the action, which is very strong. It does have a spring-loaded ejector within the bolt face and a C-clamp extractor, which is very nice. It does also have the iconic Remington 700 flat bolt handle with nice grooves and checkering in here for really positive gripping. Well, that's all I have for you on these this time. If you enjoyed, please consider hitting the like button, and if you'd like to see more, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those down in the comment section for us. Again, this is Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana, and you are watching Marksman TV. We'll see you next time.